Good evening, all. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to this webinar on Civil Engineering Employability Past COVID-19, conducted by the Institution of Engineers India Civil Division of St. Kitts College of Engineering. I would like to extend a special welcome to our resource person, Engineer Vivek Phillips, sir, Chief Structural Consultant, Fortis Arbor Structural Engineers and Construction Consultants. We welcome you, sir, to this webinar. I also welcome all the faculty members and all my fellow students to this webinar. Engineer Vivek Phillips, sir, pursued his BTech degree from RIT Government Engineering College, Kottayam, and his master's from TKM College of Engineering, Kollam. He is one of the founder managing consultants of Fortis Arbor Structural Engineers and Construction Consultants. Owing to 6 years of experience as a licensed A category engineer under the Kerala Building Rules, he works as an expert advisor in Kerala Building Rules and National Building Codes. With about 4 years of teaching experience, he has published extensively in the structural engineering area, especially in offshore and earthquake engineering. As an enthusiastic innovator, he has also filed a patent in sewer treatment process. And that's something that we all can be proud of. He was assistant professor of the civil department of our college, and he was the project in charge of establishing structural research lab and its instrumentation at St. Kitts College of Engineering. I wholeheartedly welcome Vivek, sir, to take over the webinar. Sir.
Thank you, Leah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Sengis, for giving me such an opportunity. Already they have given an introduction. Myself, Vivek Phillips. I am going to discuss with you what was the impact of COVID-19 in the construction industry. Construction industry in the sense, construction industry in our state, in India, and also what is the future of construction industry after this COVID-19. So, I'm a person who is running a construction and consultancy firm. Once the lockdown was announced, actually we were shocked because we do not know what to do. And from there, after we have completed about 3 to 4 months after the lockdown, and we have succeeded, or we have partially succeeded in establishing our own way in how to maintain our leverage, how to run the project, etc. In the first phase, I'll discuss what was our program and what we did in order to overcome this depression due to the COVID-19. And in the second phase, I'll discuss about what as the future civil engineers, what students should do, or how can you be prepared for the new wave that is going to come, the new construction wave that is going to come. So let me share my PPT. Can you see? Can you see the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, the topic is past COVID-19, the survival and revival of civil engineers, how to survive and how to revive, how to be a new civil engineer for the new profession. Actually, on March 23rd, they announced the lockdown in India. And it was shocking news for all of us. And we do not know, actually, we or our experienced persons in our company, they have not experienced such a thing in their lifetime. And we do not know what to do, because we have to feed our laborers, we have to look after our suppliers, then we have to run the projects in time. And there are many complications that are going to be that we are going to be facing. So we do not know what to do. On that was, I think it was March 22nd, that was a Sunday, and from 23rd was a Monday, and from 24th onwards, lockdown started. And on 23rd, what we had was a meeting. What to do? This is actually the flow chain for a consulting or a contracting firm. We are having consultants, then material suppliers, workers, then engineers, then equipment suppliers, and finally the owner. This arrow shows some material or some workflow. The blue arrow shows, and the red arrow shows the cash flow. And the cash flow, the main cash flow is between the owner and the contractor. And the contractor has to supply or has to feed the consultant, material supplies, workers, engineers, equipment, etc. And on March 21st, what happened was suddenly the flow, we cannot anymore, we cannot complete any phase, we cannot produce a part bill, so that we have not completed any of the phases. Everything was freezed. So the cash flow from the owner or the cash flow, inward cash flow went null at that point. So from that point, we were thinking how can we move on, what we can do. So based on the past experiences, from the flood experience and all, from the beginning of the company itself, we had some of the criteria or some of the ideas that we followed, or some of the values we followed. These are some of the values we follow. There's a single supplier for a material. That means if you are purchasing instant or aggregate or anything, only a single supplier will supply the material. If the site is in Kottayam, if the site is in Alappuzha, or if the site is in Pathanamthitta, the single supplier is going to supply you the material. Actually, it is a hard thing because when our supplier works mainly from Kottayam, when I go to Alappuzha, I will get the material for a lower price there. But the thing is that basically we introduce this only because we need quality supply of materials. So whatever be the distance, he will supply a material for a uniform rate. That's the thing. So we have to deal only with a single supplier in the case of a single material. And basically for all other materials like that, for example, tile or ceramic material, we have made a project deal with all these people. So only a single supplier will supply a particular material for us. For example, wood. Wood will be always supplied by a particular group. The tile or the floor tiles will be supplied only by a particular group. So that the communication is very easy, the quality is very assured, and also our concerns are well attended, because there will be always a loyalty between the buyer and the seller when there is a relation for years. And the second one is that we decided that we will only employ local employees. That means we had only Malayalis in our company as the skilled workers. We do not have any of the North Indian Biharis or Bengalis in our company for doing the work. Basically, you know that the rate of for employing a local person is much more than that the other one. But in long run, the loyalty always pays. So when we give employment for someone regularly for 26 days, that will be a great support for his family. So what happens is normally he will be having some affinity towards the company. He know that we will employ only the local people. That was something a particular decision that was made on some values. We thought of giving employment for the people nearby rather than people who we have not seen. This was the second thing. Then project variety. This we introduced during the third season because we are having many projects, similar projects. What happens is that when a particular thing gets stuck for that category of buildings, then the whole income or the whole cash flow will get stuck. So we plan to get or plan to have a variety of projects, commercial projects, then assembly projects, etc., etc., etc. So we introduce project variety, then proper documentation and training. And I was not at all knowing why I am introducing a thing like that act of God in my contract. But now I know the act of God is always was there in our documents, in our contract. So now, if something happens or if there is a loss, we could show this clause to our clients. So always there was a proper documentation, and also there was clauses for how we can have a proper settlement when there is a hike in material. Usually there is a when what happens when there is a 10% hike in the material price, and we were doing consultancy work for last about 10 years. I have not seen in the material price what happened during the last 4 months. So that clause was also introduced. So what I was saying that the proper clauses were there in our agreement. So due to this, actually during once this was announced, what we planned was to collect as much as buffer funds and to feed our employees and laborers. Actually, it was a tougher decision because you know that there are more than 250 laborers and also employees. So, without doing any work, without any output, we are going to feed them. It is going to be a large problem. But what we need was at the once this lockdown will get removed, or once they exempt this lockdown, the very next day we need to start the work. That was our plan. So we provided or we fed our employees and also the laborers without cutting off any of them. So what we did was once the owner or the client money was cut, what we thought was we should not waste the buffer amount that is there for feeding the employees and the labels. So we have only single material supplies and single equipment support supplies. So it was very easy for us to talk with them and to shift the pending amounts for a particular week or 2 or 3 months to shift the payments for 3 to 4 months because we were continuously dealing with them for last 4 to 5 years. It was very easy for us to make such a decision. And for our support or material support is being a single supplier, being very loyal to the company, and they know the goodwill of the company. So they, many of them um, allowed us to make the payment or shift the payment so that we block the cash outflow to the material suppliers and the equipment providers. So what we did was we had our engineers and the workers for the about 4 and 5 weeks. So once the lockdown was removed, we could immediately start the work because the workers were always we were taking care of the workers, and so we could start the work immediately, and all our projects were started within 10 to 12 10 to 12 days after relaxing the lockdown. But we could bring back all our libraries because they were from the local, maximum from Ernakulam or from Alappuzha, etc. So we could bring back all of them. Since although there is a larger demand of libraries, local libraries now, because most of the Bengali libraries or other North Indian libraries are left, they have migrated to their home. So now there is a rise in the demand of local libraries. But although there is a rise in the demand of the local libraries, all of our libraries could come back and rejoin since we had made such a decision to to be with them during the lockdown period. Now what we do is we do a kind of switching projects because after the lockdown, all the projects all the private and the government projects got extended for 6 months. So what we plan to do is we are taking the advantage of time schedule because all the people know what happened during the COVID season. So there is a relaxation in the time schedule. Once if you plan a work to be finished in 1 year, now we can finish that in 1.5 years. Usually, if a work lags, what happens is the labor cost increases. The labor cost increases tremendously because the working day of labor increases. But what we are doing now is we are switching the projects. What we do is we switch some of the projects on, and we will switch some of the projects off. Then we will supply libraries to that particular project, and for a week some projects will be on. For the next period, that project will be off, so that there will not be any cost incurred in that project. No labor cost, no working cost, nothing. While doing that, what happens is we can reduce the material amount or the material input to the sites. So once we reduce the material input, the buffer amount which we can have to make the projects increases, and we reduce the material intake per week, and we reduce the activities per week, and we switch on some projects, then work for a while, then complete some stages, then switch off it, then complete other projects, complete a particular stage, then come back and switch on. So the client is also happy. His work is going on. We are also not procuring much materials at a higher rates. Now the material rates are very high, and it is decreasing. But now procurement of material in a larger scale is very difficult, and it will severely affect the project profit. So what we did is this, and we could run all the projects now like this, and we could maintain, or we could not, we are not sending back any of our employees or laborers, and or we have not reduced any of their salaries, any of their pay, anything. Nobody was cut off from the payroll, but everything is going on. And so this actually we made these decisions. Actually, this was made for some other purposes, but it helped us a lot during the lockdown period. Um, Now, I'll discuss what is the future, or where is the future. Now, most of them ask me whether we will get an employment after completing the course. What will we do after COVID-19? Because a lot of people have lost their jobs, their payments have been cut shorter. So people ask what is the future. So we should discuss where is the future of construction industries. Is there it is whether it is there in the developed countries or in the developing countries. Actually, whenever there is a economic depression, the only thing that can be done to pull up the economy is to invest more in infrastructure. You may be knowing the world economic depression during 2005, 2006, 7, and 8. Uh, During this time, India sustained much in controlling the world economic depression, or we were not at all affected by world economic depression, because a lot of projects were introduced by the government, so that the money was directly pumped into the hands of people. And construction industry is the second largest industry, second to the agriculture industry, that give employment to the people. And in agriculture, if we directly pump money to agriculture, it's not going to get into the hands of common people at a faster rate. The second option is to pump money into infrastructure or construction industry, so that the common people will get money at a faster rate. You know that in a construction project, 40 to 50% the cost is of the labor cost. Then again, 40 to 50% is the material cost and the profit of the contractor. So the 40 to 50% directly goes into the hands of common people, people who work for daily wages, or people who are below a particular earning level. So what happens is, once the money gets into their hands, this money gets transacted soon, rather than when a money that is in the hands of a middle class or upper middle class person. The transaction rate, the transaction immediacy is very high in the case of a below income person. So always government, as in the case of world economic depression, at that time government introduced many projects like Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, and also the Mahatma Gandhi employment certainty scheme, etc. So that the money that every person in a family will get 100% employment. Sorry, 100 days of employment. That means a particular amount of money is directly pumped into their hands. So once, whenever a government faces an economic depression, they will pump money into infrastructure. So there will be an infrastructure development, and once if the country is well developed in infrastructure, this pumping is not possible, or this pumping will be possible, or something someone will think, or the government will think about the pumping of money to a particular infrastructure only when it is needed. If it is need, if it is a need. Actually, I wonder, 10 years before, we were not even in our wild dreams, we were not thinking about metro rail at Kochi. We will not be, we cannot even imagine. But now you know that how many crores of is come to a particular city alone. And this is directly, if it is about 230 crores or 500 crores, about 250 crores is directly going to the hands of common people. That's the benefit of infrastructure development. So in countries where there is a scope of infrastructure development, the construction industry is having a greater scope. So that is why I feel that in our country, in India, basically we lack an infrastructure development. So there will be a boom in the infrastructure development. Basically, the government projects during the next 6 months or next 1 year. Once the corona infections get suppressed, we can expect a sudden boom in the infrastructure development. So nobody is going to lose their employment. Even the new students who is going to get outside after the course can expect a boom after 1 to 1.5 years, mainly in the government project sectors. So you can have a good employment in India itself. You do not have to dream of the Middle East or any of the other countries where the development is, the infrastructure development is much targeted. So this is what I think. And also in this June 2020, the last month, actually government has introduced many of the projects. You can see how much crores is spent, about 15 lakh crores. You can see that what is the amount of that 15 lakh crores. That means it's an amount which we cannot even imagine. And that much is pumped for the constructing roads. Ultimately, 7.5 lakh crores is going to get directly into the hands of common people, and it is going to get immediately transacted, and the market is going to be more and more greenish. Then Indian energy sector is $300 billion. Then the union budget is 169,637 crores to develop the transport infrastructure, roads, etc. And the communication sector, then Indian Railway. Actually, these are all going to be a something that is going to initiate a boom in the infrastructure government sector of India. So now you may be thinking, a lot of people have left their job from the Middle East and they have come here. They are very well experienced persons. Those who with the 10 years or 12 years experience are reached here. Then how can I beat them, or how without any experience, what how I can compete with them and secure a job now. You know that many people actually in Kerala itself, you know that 6 lakhs or 7 lakh people have returned from the Middle East. So you should think that even if there is a fish that can swim, there's a large fish that can swim in sea, it will not be comfortable in a pond like a small fish. You have to understand that in India, the bidding process, or in Kerala, or anywhere in our country, the bidding process is much more complicated. The execution of work is more complicated rather than a schematic or systematic way. You have to think about a project which is bidded for 30% below. That means if somebody asks you to prepare something for rupees 100, you are saying that no, sir, I will make it for 70 rupees, or I will construct that for 70 rupees. Then some others will say that I will construct that for 69.5 rupees. That's what how the projects are awarded. There are projects which are awarded 25%, 30%, 30.5% below the project rate. That is a particular condition in India. So you should know how to handle a project when the project cost runs below 30% or below 20%. How can you run that? That you need a special skill, which you should get it from India. Now, you know, many of your friends, maybe they may be in Canada, as civil engineers, maybe in Canada. Ask them what is the kind of job that they are doing there. They may be doing some marketing job, there's some selling work, some may be doing HR works. And if you ask 100 people in Canada, you can understand that only 2 or 3 are doing core engineering works or core civil engineering works. All others are doing some other works. So if they return back, you do not have to worry much, or you do not have to worry much on their experience dealing with Indian construction industry. Now, when we talk about Middle East, there the project is entirely different. Once we are having consultants work from Middle East, we prepare designs, and once we prepare a proper design, their consultant will check the design, and he will tremendously increase the amount of concrete, the grade of concrete, and the amount of reinforcement, etc. That's a culture. If you need 10 centimeter thickness, they will introduce 20 centimeter thickness, because project cost is not at all a problem for them. They are not at all worried about the cost of the project. So a cost, they may be worried about the schedule of the project or time of the project, the completion time, and they are not well exposed to the conditions in India. So I have discussed that you are having a bright future. A civil engineer is having a bright future in India rather than in other outside world. Um, Many people have returned. They are not exposed to our conditions. Then what we can do as a civil engineering student? As a civil engineering student, from today onwards, you have to get exposed to our construction industry and our construction pattern, how it is done. For example, in Middle East, we employ more equipments. In India, the equipment usage is very low. Only about 4 to 5 years we have started the pumping concrete. We have started the ready mix concrete, etc. The labor management and cost management is more tighter here than in the other countries. So what is our need and what is our requirement? What is the requirement of the country? How can you manage yourself as a civil engineer in the country, in our own country, will be the most prosperous thing that you can do now, because you also can understand that people who were working abroad, people who were working in Middle East, they have to return back. In Saudi, they have eliminated about 80% of the other people. So they have to come back. So it is better to be in your location, and the future is in our land. As any profession, you know that the professions, any profession, there will be a loss of employment. There will be a job fallout, etc. In the case of civil engineering also. But what really make a employer not employing you is the lack of your technical talent. This was the situation before the corona, and it will be the situation after the corona too. Now, after the corona, a wide variety of infrastructure projects is going to happen here, and a wide variety of job opportunities is also going to occur. So, if you are well equipped to be a good civil engineer, to be an employable civil engineer during this time, after 1 or 1.5 years, you will get a good job and employment. So you should be industry ready students to get advantage of the boom that is coming. Actually, your syllabus is designed for maybe the K2 syllabus is designed about 5 to 6 years before. For a first year student, he'll be passing out after 4 years. So the syllabus gap is about 9 years. So what you are studying is, so once you pass out, you are facing something which is new rather than you have something what you have studied. The entire technology will vary for this 9 years in the construction industry. So that is why always people insist you to be industry ready. That means you should have a close relation with the industries. So I will suggest some of the methods in which you can have a close relation with the industries. Here, you may not worry about the money part or your salary part now, because being a student, even if you are not getting any money or any salary, if you can do some part-time jobs where you can have more knowledge, where you can get some experience to the how the construction industry works, it will be a great thing. While I was studying in RIT, from my second year onwards, I used to take some works, I take some sub works, the consultancy works, the architecture drawing works, design works, etc., which was from the consultancy works that was awarded to RIT. So that during the time of my study, I was exposed to the construction industry. I could meet the clients, I could prepare drawings, etc. And once I passed out in 10 years before, I could directly start my own firm. And obviously, at the initial stages, your payment will be very low, or your income will be very low. But later on, once you get a momentum, once you accelerate, the things are going to change. So, this 4 years of study is a period of you to get more and more attached to the construction industry, attached to the people in the construction industry, to get aware of people in the construction industry, etc. How things are happening. So you will not be having a 4 years lag after passing out. Once, if you are not doing anything now and you are passing out, then you think of doing all these things. There will be surely a lag, and people who are not having this lag, the people who are industry ready will get soon absorbed. So these are the some of the things that you can do so that to become an industry ready student. The first one is you make some construction site trainings. Then we have a number of softwares which we'll discuss later. Then some of the consultant and visits, how it happens. Then involvement in your department consultancy works. Then some part-time jobs as junior site engineers. Then with the consultant engineers, some jobs. Then your final year projects, and now you have to improve your communication skill. The initial construction site training. You may be studying in first year, second year, third year, or fourth year. Even now, there may be people in fourth year who may not be knowing what is the particular mix, how a bar is being bended, or how can you bend a stirrup, how can you tie a stirrup, or how can you crank a bar. You may not be knowing that. If you go to a particular site to see all these things, you can know all these things, how it is done. So it is an experience. You can visit a small site near your house, so that you can see all these things. You may work with them also, so that you will get some pay. These are some of the software that you have to get aware of. Maybe you will be all sitting in home. Now you can try all these softwares. You can study this or using YouTube supporters, etc. There are classes in YouTube handling AutoCAD, 3D Max, Revit, etc. So these are some of the drafting softwares, AutoCAD, then some of the BIM softwares, that means information management softwares, where you can have a number of items clubbed together, electrical, plumbing, etc., 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 many things. Then there are structural design softwares. Then material testing, then data station, etc., etc. Then project management softwares, etc. So this is a time for you to get exposed to these softwares, and you cannot do anything if you do not know this AutoCAD, Revit, or Primavera, or something like that. If you are going to a particular site, a site engineer, you may have to frequently use AutoCAD. You may have to prepare drawings. You may have to take quantities using Revit, expected quantities, many things. So it's a better time for you for a revival, for exposing to not all of the softwares, but some of the softwares, especially AutoCAD, Revit, Primavera, Start, etc. Then working with a consultant. There are many consultants. Actually, civil engineering, we are blessed people to be in civil engineering field, because we have a wide variety of branches involved in civil engineering. We have transportation engineering, environmental engineering, structural consultants, geotechnical engineering, then water resources, then irrigation, then transportation, and many fields involved. in civil engineering field. So you have you are having a basic knowledge of all these things. Even if you are not getting a good job in construction, or you do not have a particular taste in the construction, building construction industry, civil engineering is not about building construction alone. It is about purifying water. It is about irrigating the weeds, sorry, the field. It is about underground mining. It is about offshore engineering. It is about procuring petrol from deeper seas. It's about everything. Actually, civil engineering is a special branch in engineering, which is having a wide variety of branches. So the job opportunities are also wide. Uh, a large number of jobs are awaiting you, especially for civil engineering. So you should understand what is the taste. What is the taste during your civil engineering, basic civil engineering courses? Are you very fond of drawing architecture plans, or you need to be an environmentalist, or you need to be a water resource engineer, or you are more interested in structural engineering, or do you need to get more awareness in geotechnical engineering? Once you have that thing in your mind, that once you after your second year or third year, you get some awareness about which subject I like in civil engineering, which branch I like most in civil engineering. You should take that branch. Should take that branch as your core branch. And if you are very fond of water resource engineering, you can have a master's in water resources engineering, and you can serve jobs purely for water resources engineering. Or if you are geoinformatics, you are very a new branch in civil engineering. If you are very interested in geoinformatics, surveying, etc. You can have a master's in geoinformatics, or you can have such works. Every work, even water resource engineering, waste treatment, flood treatment, this GIS, geoinformatics survey, etc., is having a larger scope everywhere. Even we employ outside people for surveying, GIS marking, etc. If you need to explore or take soil or explore soil from a particular large area rather than one sector or 1.5 sector, you need GIS marking, geoinformatics marking of that particular land, and you should submit the geoinformatic information, etc., to the government in order to get a particular function for that. So, yeah, in the construction industry, you are having a wide variety of branches in which you can expertise. And now we are not getting experts from all these fields. Even now in Kottayam, if we want to get if we want to um, get a particular person who is going to explore the groundwater, who is going to explore the groundwater resources, we have to employ someone from Ernakulam or somewhere like that, so that we have to come here with the machine and all. In this particular locality, there is no one with such an equipment or something like that. So there is a number of job opportunities coming, or there is a number of branches in civil engineering in which you can expertise. Only thing is that you have to understand what is your instinct. Now, once you can have part-time jobs, here you do not worry about your salary. You have to do the part-time jobs at the construction site, at the office of the consultants, etc., so that you will be aware of all what is happening there. Once you have passed out, you will be having a direct entry into the world. And once, if you are going for a part-time job with some consultant or at some construction sites, it will be a opportunity for you to um, get in touch with many of the personnel, many of the architects, many of the engineers, leading consultants, etc., which will help you in future to get a job or to find a good means for your life. Then the final year projects. Usually people see final year projects in a very lighter way, but this is a major thing that you should be able to do with in relation with the industry. Your project should be something that should be in relation with the industry rather than something that is done for the sake of the project. Because I have seen many people mixing something in concrete and then producing the results, mixing mud in concrete, producing the results, mixing cow dung in concrete, producing the results, and they are making paper with that. It is not going to be something that is related with the industry. You cannot mix carbon in concrete. So it is not a possible thing or it is not a practical thing. So you should never go for such projects. You should visit the industry. Once you have visited the industry, once you have seen the industry problems, then you will get aware of what all are the problems really faced by the industry. It may be management problems, it may be schedule problems. Basically, it is not the project may not deal exclusively with the structural engineering, construction, concrete, etc. But it may be a labor problem. It may be a schedule problem. It may be a time problem. It may be the quality of some materials, how the quality of material is going to affect this, etc., etc., etc. So your project, which is done for a particular year, 1 year you are going to spend on this project. So it should be industry ready. It should make you industry ready. So it should be something which is in a close interaction with the industry. Also, it should be a solution to any of the industry problems. And during this time, you'll get a close relation with the industry so that you can have a better employability. Then the final one is the communication skills. Now, the communication skill is a much important thing an engineer should have, engineer, consultant, or anyone. Actually, now they cannot visit all the sites now due to this COVID, etc. So many of the things will be in a video conferencing or we will be greeting through phone, etc. So your subordinates should understand this. They could well explain this to the employees, etc. Mainly, maybe sometimes we'll be directly dealing with the ladies. They have to understand what you are feeling. For that, the communication is not the language communication. If you want your labor to do something, if you want your labor to bend a bar in a particular way, you should explain him how it is done. If you have to explain him how it is done, you have to do it. Otherwise, if you do not know how to do it, how can you explain him? So you have to experience, learn, and then communicate in civil engineering. During this adverse situation, we have to carve out the new normal. Now you know that we are 6 months before. If we talk about hand wash, if you talk about sanitizer, etc., people will laugh at you. Now you know how to use sanitize this it is a necessity. We all wear masks. If you think about 8 months before, if you wear a mask and go somewhere, police will arrest you. Now, if you don't wear the mask, the police will arrest you. That's called a new normal. So, this is the willingness to adapt to the crisis is the key in success. We can hope that nothing in life is to be feared. Even the infection, the corona infection, it is should be understood. We should understand this, and we understand more about our situation and our profession, and then we will become fearless. We will not be worrying much about our job. We will not be worrying much about our income, etc. This was something said by Marie Curie. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a very informative session. Now we'll have an interactive session with Vivek, sir. If anyone has any questions or queries, they can ask Vivek, sir, now. Please make use of this opportunity to clarify your queries and worries. Any questions?
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have a doubt that as we know that in our college, the class schedules from the 9 to 4:10. So how it is possible to be take a part-time job along with our studies?
Actually, you can work from home. You can visit any of the consulting firms. You can say that I will make drawings for you. Actually, he will ask what is your cost for making drawings for me. So you can say a very well low cost for doing that. In the night, you can prepare that drawing and send him. So that we will study how to prepare a drawing, how to prepare a sanction drawing, how can you submit a project to the authorities, etc. And in the Saturdays, Sundays, etc., you can have the work. And you have to understand that there are many sites where night works are being going on. And you can visit that site also. And then 1.5, there are sites where shifts, there will be shifts, 8-hour shifts, the first shifts, the 10 shifts, etc. And also there are sites where work starts from 7 to 7. So you may not stand in the site for the whole day, but on a daily basis or a weekly basis, you can visit a site so that you can see the progress, you can see how the work is done, you can have an interaction with the basic employees.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. So my name is Sanjay. I'm currently doing my final year at St. Kitts. So it was like now the final years they are like simply sitting at home. What are some of the tips that you can say that for making our time productive? Like we can't go to site right now because of all these corona issues, and we can't also go for any courses. We can do online courses, but rather than that, what are some of the things that we can do to make our time more productive?
That's what I was suggesting. You can have a work from home with some of you may be having some connections with your relative engineer or your friends working somewhere. You can have something from them for doing some jobs, for preparing some estimates or anything like that. Then you can do that. And also you can you will be knowing you will be knowing AutoCAD now.
Yeah, sir.
You have studied AutoCAD. Now it is
Yes.
the time to make your tool more and more sharpened. So you can sharpen your skills, AutoCAD skills. Now you can have a AutoCAD section from the YouTube. You
Mhm.
can see how you can place layers, how you can do a precise drawing, how you can make a printout, what are the different paper sizes. And I am surprised people come for interviews do not know what all are the paper sizes, what is the pen size, what is the line thickness, etc. You can make such a movement. In start, you can have a number of projects. You can explore the start from home. So this all is going to make you industry ready. I said you that in between 6 months or 8 months, there will be boom in the construction industry, since the government project is not going to increase a lot. So at that time, you should be. That's what I was discussing about from the start to the end.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have a doubt. Sir, we
Hello.
have been, sir, I have a doubt. This is Robin.
Yeah.
There was a trend even before the COVID-19 that many of the graduates, even after the graduation, they would be deviate from the core courses to some other courses like IT industry. IT. I have a doubt that even after the graduation, how can we stay in our core itself?
Actually, the earlier trend was that you go to an IT industry, and the first day, if you are placed in Infosys, etc., the first day you will get a salary at about 30,000, etc., 50,000, 30,000. Now, but for a civil engineer, if you are going for a particular job in the site, now you can expect, if you are very, very good, you can expect only a salary of 6,000 or 8,000 as a detail. So that was the thing people chose this IT field. But you can see that after 5 or 10 years, the people who went, the construction civil engineers who went to the IT field, they are staggered there. They know only a particular job. They are doing that job for the last 5 years. Their salary is remain the same. But being in the core profession, you earn a salary of 8,000 one month. After 6 months, your salary gets improved to 15,000. After 2 years, it becomes 30,000. After 5 years or 10 years, it becomes 80,000, 90,000. And there are project engineers who earn more than 2 to 2.5 lakhs in Ernakulam or in Kottayam for leading the project, is having 15 or 20 years experience in construction industry. At the same time, you should look at what is happening to the civil engineer who is going to choose the IT industry. He'll be getting remained at the same job for a longer period. And the core people who is working in the IT industry, the IT engineers and the computer engineers who were well below his rank will overtake him, because his portion is not that. He only know a particular job. So it will be better in longer times to remain in your core job rather than to wander around the jobs in other jobs.
Sir, much more than that, I have to ask that how can we stay in our job itself?
That's a particular thing in civil engineering. That in a particular IT engineer, we do not need any experience at all. He can do a particular procedure. But civil engineering is a branch where the common sense is rewarded much. Every day your problem is different, rather than you are dealing with a single problem. And the first day you will be dealing with a particular problem, you will fail. The second day you will be dealing with the next problem, may or may not you pass. And you will deal with 100 or 200 or 300 problems in a particular 2 or 3 years. And that is called as experience. And that experience cannot be gained by who is standing outside and seeing the field. And in civil engineering, experience is what is rewarded. If you want to be a civil engineer, you need to get experience and exposed to the industry. You know that in a civil engineering, if you are going as a site supervisor, first day you will get a salary of 8,000 only, or maximum 10,000 or 15,000. Have you ever thought of a laborer who is working for 26 days? What is his salary? If he is working from 7 to 7, he will get 1.5 into 1,000, 1,500 per day. So if you work for 26 days, 26 into 1,500, it is about 36,000, 39,000. So that is the salary of a labor. Why he is getting that much salary, and you have studied for about this much years, you have spent many years on studying, and you are not getting such a salary? Because this is a skilled job. You need skill. Your experience is going to reward you rather than your certificates. Even if you are a failed graduate, you may be earning many lakhs based on your experience. So your experience is going to reward you in civil engineering field, and you should, if you are planning to stand in civil engineering, there will be an advice initial stage where you have to thrive to get this experience. Once this experience is gained, everybody will respect you, and the money will come before you.
Sir, is there any problem to getting jobs outside India for civil engineers?
Yes, there may be greater issues for civil engineers in Middle East and in the other countries also. Basically, the European countries, I do not know how many civil engineers working in European countries are working as civil engineers. They just go there, take some degree, some sub degrees, diploma degrees, or do some 6 months course or something like that. They procure some job based on that course, and they work there. But in Middle East and or in Gulf countries, civil engineers are working in the corporate field. But being the infrastructure at the Middle East, the infrastructure development is not a need in the Middle East. Many of the Middle East countries, where the people choose to work. But in India or in developing countries, infrastructure development is a need. They cannot stop it. So the future of civil engineers will be in developing countries rather than in developed countries.
Okay, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is that in most of the colleges, the placement jobs that are offered are mainly IT related jobs. So, like, how can a fresh graduate find himself a job?
A civil engineering graduate should equip himself during his course time. He should go outside. Maybe this may be a hard time, but on the other time, when everything is okay, you should go outside. You should meet the site engineers. You should have a good relation with the common engineering people, the engineering society, the industrialists, etc., so that you can have an opening after your studies. Basically, your pay is very low when you get employment as a fresh civil engineer. Maybe in many of the North Indian countries, Shapurji or Padurji, etc., your payment will be about 20 or 25,000 only at the initial stage. That's why the colleges are not encouraging the people to come to college and get some recruitments done. But it is you if you are if you are if you need to be a civil engineer, you have to get some employment. Maybe in a particular smaller firm, but it is your first step to move on to the second step, and you can improve your portion, your grade only gradually. That's the thing in civil engineering. That's the basic nature of civil engineering. Cannot be changed. So you have to go everywhere, search job. Once you get into job, do your job very well. Get try to get knowledge. Move on to the second step. That's how I was in your shoes years before, and my first salary was 4,000 rupees. You can imagine. And if I sit at home and if I was crying that this is only salary I get, and this computer people are getting more and more placements and salary, I should go there. Nobody will be knowing me, or I cannot do anything in my profession. And the civil engineering job is you are creating something. You are creating it for the common people. You are the among the civil engineering branches. You are the people who are going to deal with the common people. You are the people who are going to feed the common people more compared to any of the civil engineering field. So it should be after thriving for many years, 6 or 7 years, you'll be proud of being a civil engineer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I have a query that why are the civil engineers paid very less? Actually, for a plan, for a building planning, we are
Yeah.
only paid as almost 4 rupees per square feet.
This
Even we
I
are
think, you are talking about your payment.
yes. Even
Yeah.
though they are spending about 50 lakhs or something about for building their home.
Actually, I charge about 50 rupees per square feet.
50 rupees per square feet.
Yeah.
Oh, that much is paid. I don't know.
So when you need there is a time after 10 to 12 years or after 15 years there will be a time when people need you. Now you need your clients, and after 10 or 12 years of driving and experience, I impress on emphasis on experience. After experience, the clients will be needing you. At that position, you can fix your rate.
Okay, sir. I have one more query.
Yeah.
Why is engineers paid so less? That is, sir have mentioned that
Answer is
10,000.
actually it is not your graduation, it is not your certificate, or it is not your marks is being paid for here. It is your experience and your skill is being paid.
Even though
That's
for
why actually
sir,
we are not dealing with something that we have not seen, or we are not dealing with a particular software or something like that. We are dealing with humans. When somebody asks you a question, you should have an answer. When somebody calls you from the site, sir, this is the problem there, you should have a solution for that. We are dealing with a number of activities in the site. You should think of building a home. How many raw materials are involved? How many type of labels are involved? It's n number of combinations. So
sir,
if you can answer all these n number of combinations, why there is a leak over there? Why there is a dampness over there? What can you do for dampness? What can you do for some other things? How can you remove that crack, or how can you avoid that crack? If you can answer all these things, is called as experience. You cannot do it in a single day. You have to move from sites to sites. You have to see things and things. You have to understand many things. You have to study even from the basic laborer. You have to study even from a mason. You have to study even from a worker who is working. Then you will get that experience. With that experience only, you will get a particular dignity in your profession. Without that experience, you are not going to get any dignity. That is why a fresh engineer is not paid.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Hello, sir. So I have another query.
Okay.
Sir, I'm like planning for going to a job. Like I'm planning to work as a civil engineer right now, rather than rather than teaching in an institution. So, taking an MTech or an MS abroad will benefit me more, or rather with my BTech, will it be more profitable for me? Like when I'm planning to work as an engineer itself.
You should understand what is your core field first. Whether
Okay,
you work, you are planning to work as an architect or a building planner, whether you are going to work as a structural engineer, whether you are going to plan as an environmentalist, etc. That you should fix first. You know which subject you are fond of, which subject you like now. You know.
yes, sir.
So you should dream of being an expert in that. You cannot be an expert in all the subjects, no.
Yes, sir.
So it will be better you should take a master's. A master's from a good institute.
Yes, sir.
In the field. If you are planning to be an environmentalist, you should have a master's in environmental degree from a good institute. So you will be you are more then you will be more and more nearer and exposed to many of the new technologies and the books in that particular field. So that is what you have to identify now. Then you have to make take a master's in that. Then you start work as an expert engineer in that field.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Does anyone else have any more questions?
Sir, I have a doubt. Which is better, the site work or the office work?
You cannot work in office without seeing a particular site. It is related because what you are drawing is going to be executed in the site. You have to know well what all are the conditions in the site before you are preparing a particular drawing. So these two are well related. You have to mainly if you are working in office, you may not have to visit the site for a longer time, but you have to visit the site. But if you are working in a site, you may have to always go to office to check the drawings, to check the measurements, also to check the quantity, etc., etc., etc. So these both works are related. You cannot always stick on to office.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any more questions?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I have a doubt. So it's actually, so you just said about how the experience matters in our work. And considering the situation that's happening right now about the pandemic around the world, how can our growth as a civil engineer be ensured? Like, how much work do we have to put in for them to see us as worthy civil engineer?
Actually, the situations will change. Now every site is open. We are working. Actually, I'm going to site. We are going to sites where we are going to we are doing consultancy work, etc. Almost all the sites are working. But you should be careful during when you go to sites and all. To not to be exposed to the pandemic or the virus, etc. That's all. You can visit the sites, and every site is well hygienically maintained. So there is no much outbreak. But during this time, it's better you remain at home. You can get exposed to the softwares or even books, civil engineering related books. You can read books which you have not read it. That's how you can be industry ready. A particular up to a particular level. So once the industry demands you, you can directly approach the industry with a better knowledge of all these things. Actually, the situations that you are talking about, the coronavirus infection, this happened only last 4 months. It will change. You will be having a better future tomorrow. Then you can have site visits, but you should have a instinct to be in touch with the industry if you want to be a civil engineer, a good civil engineer.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Does anyone else have any more questions? Good evening, all. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a word of thanks on the occasion of this webinar. I, Leia Alex, on behalf of the IAI Civil Division of St. Kitts College of Engineering, extend very hearty gratitude to Engineer Vivek Phillips sir for sharing with us your valuable opinions today. This session was very informative for each one of us, and we could clarify our worries and concerns regarding employability past COVID-19. We wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I also thank Cherian, sir, our academic coordinator, and all of the other teachers for attending our webinar. We couldn't have pulled off this webinar without the hard work and dedication of Lakshmi Miss, who worked tirelessly to make this webinar a successful one. I also thank my fellow students who attended this webinar. I'm sure that all of you have been benefited by attending it. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Saint Kitts, and also thank you, Lakshmi, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.